We have to know their goals.
Those are some really moving perspectives. Joseph Sobel has a story that can speak to that last idea, about listening. He was with our region's own Ray Hicks, the famous Jack-Tell storyteller, while Ray was brought in by his family to seek medical help. Now, before I give anything else away, I'll just ask Joseph to come to the stage and tell us that story. Joseph?
Gonna lay down my old guitar. Gonna lay down my old guitar. I wish I could strap it to my side and carry it along with me. Susan O'Connor was dumbstruck by this. Susan is the longtime programming director of the International Storytelling Center, and we were standing in the hall of the pediatric ward at Johnson City Medical Center. Ray Hicks was in his room with the doctor. Susan was saying, "You wouldn't believe it." Ray had been admitted a couple days before because he was feeling poorly. He'd missed the National Storytelling Festival in Jonesborough for the first time in many, many years. And his friends finally persuaded him to come down off the mountain and see some real doctors. And trying to get him through those gatekeepers, well, that's another story. It was one of the most amazing medical interviews of all time. But there he was in the hospital, and he had been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer of the prostate and the colon, metastasized to his bones. And Susan said, this morning Ray took a walk up and down the hall, and when he was on his way back, he came to the nurse's station. And he turned around to all the people in the hallway, patients, doctors, nurses, orderlies, everyone, and he said, "They say the cancer's going to take me. I figure if I'm going to go, I might as well go singing." And he raised his great big long arm and started leading the whole hospital in singing, "Gonna lay down my old guitar." It was amazing. Well, Ray was in there with the doctor, and we were waiting to go in and see him. And down the hall came a little girl, 10, 11 years old. Her hair burned off by the chemo and the radiation. Just a little fuzz on top, a few strands dropping down. And her old palsied grandma was walking with her, clinging to the railing, shaking so bad she could hardly stand. And it was hard to tell which one was sicker. And as they came up to us, I said, "You like stories?" She nodded. I said, "Well, you're in luck today because one of the greatest storytellers in the country is right here along your hall. That makes you neighbors." And Ray likes neighbors, so maybe if he gets free, we can go in there and I can introduce you. She nodded. So pretty soon the door came open and the doctor brushed past us. And it looked like Ray was in a receptive mood, so we walked in. And I said, "Ray, this is Kimberly. She lives right here on your hall. That makes you neighbors." And Ray asked her name, first name, last name. They compared notes, you know. She was a Presley. He was related to some Presnells on his mother's side. That made them almost kinfolk. So after they took care of those formalities, you know, Ray settled back. He said, "Well, this story is about a time when older folk didn't mind hitting young people. Sometimes for no reason at all. Just hit them just to make them pay attention, you know. Hit them with a board, hit them with a strop, leave bruises in their bones sometimes, you know. Sometimes they never get better. Some folks think that might be what's wrong with me. But same thing happened to Jack. His father took to whooping him because he didn't do his chores. Jack said, "I did them," but father wouldn't believe him, just whooped him just in case. And Jack had enough. Figured he'd light out, run away. So that's what he did. And Ray went on to tell the story of Jack and the animals, which is about how Jack ran away from home, started a new family with a donkey, an ox, a dog, a cat, a rooster. And they all went off and found their fortune through grace and cleverness and through sticking together, made a new family. And he leaned back in bed and he made all the animal sounds, the sounds of the donkey, the sounds of the ox, the sounds of the dog, the cat, the rooster, the robbers, everything. And he just closed his eyes and disappeared into the story. And all the while the monitors were bleeping and making their little patterns in the monitor there. And the intercom was blaring out in the hall, and gurneys were rolling by, going by empty, coming back full, you know. But all that disappeared. And everybody in that room just looked at the storyteller, or looked through him into the story, and watched it go by. And when Ray was done, I turned to the little girl and I said, you know, you're a lucky girl to hear that story that way today from that man. And she nodded, and she skipped off down the hall. And that's when her granny said, you know, she ain't even got a daddy. Her daddy's so mean, found him another woman before she was even born. Won't even send her a Christmas card. And I don't know how it happened that Ray, in that mysterious alchemy that storytellers can have sometimes, you know, he honed in on the one story in the entire Jack Tale universe where Jack's daddy was plumb mean too. And I don't know how he knew it, but he did. And I don't know how long that girl had to live with that or to think about it. I know Ray lasted another 2 years. They sent him home, gave him 6 months. He said, thank you very much, and he took 2 years. But on that day, that girl was like Jack, and like any of us who've had a great storyteller in our lives, just plumb lucky.